my family, and that was close to bringing, not even thinking that it would be there, cooking for my family tonight, because I use mine all the time. So I'll be showing you Dory's tonight. It really does need, oh, it's okay. We may not actually use it, but I'll show you. So the original, we have. I had never used a pressure cooker before. Pampered Chef's foot cooker. Was a little intimidated at first. Didn't really know what I was getting myself into. You hear the stories about the ones on the stove that, you know, from when our parents were using them that explode. You know, so easy to use, so many features. Just really takes the stress out of cooking. Gets the recipes on the table so much faster. So many features. So I think I need to plug this in so I can show you guys. The lights up. So whether you have our original or you have our newer version, we're going to show you both tonight. Different features about this foot cooker. As you'll see, once it plugs in, there's no on-off switch. You just plug it in or unplug it. That's what's going to turn it on or off. And then so many pre-programmed settings. Make some fun noises. I know it's ready to work or it's working. Pot on the inside. What it comes with when you purchase this pressure cooker is the stand, the inner pot, and the lid. Okay, those are all the things that you need to do tons and tons and tons of recipes. On the front, whether you want to do brown rice in 15 minutes, you can do that right here in the pot, or there's other accessories we'll tell you more about in just a little while. You can do white rice in 8 minutes. You're cooking, you know, the bag of yellow rice in 8 minutes. So many different things you can do just right here in the inner pot, or again, accessories that you can use. And you're just going to turn the dial, which is the awesome part. Whether you want to sear right inside the pot, you want to steam, you're just going to turn the dial to the pre-programmed settings that are right here on this pot. Slow cook, proof. Ever bake bread yourself at home and you want it to rise, you want to do the proofing, you can proof right here on the pot as well. You're not going to bake it in this pot, but you'll proof it and then put it into whatever you want to bake it in the oven. You can do yogurts, you can do puddings. We're going to show you a lot of those different things tonight. But so nice that you can just turn the dial to the different features. So chicken and poultry, beef or pork. And you can see as you're turning the dial, the number of minutes change. The pot is very intuitive. There's so many things that it automatically knows to do. So it takes the pressure off of us. If I turn it to the chicken and poultry setting, it's going to say 15 minutes, but I can fill this with frozen chicken. Your 15 minutes is for fresh, raw chicken. You're going to put it right in there. I can fill it with frozen chicken, all my ingredients. For example, when I left for my family tonight, frozen chicken thighs, dropped it right in there. A can of green beans, a can of Rotel type, you know, the tomatoes and green chilies, and then Mexican seasonings. So we use sofrito and we use just different Mexican seasonings. Throw it all in there. You want always at least 1 cup of liquid, always, whether it's broth or it's water or it's tomato sauce, whatever your base is for whatever you're making, always at least 1 cup of liquid. Toss it all in there, put the lid on. Because it was frozen and I'm not going to be home to check it, it's going to be, my kids are going to go in and start eating. They're not going to make sure the chicken's done. So I put it on 20 minutes so I can do that as well because the chicken was frozen. Otherwise, the pot is intuitive. It takes some time to heat up before your timer is going to begin. So if it's frozen, it takes longer to heat up. It knows, you know, it's going to have to really heat up longer. So your 15 minutes is probably still fine. I always just do a little bit longer if we're doing frozen chicken. But the way you would do that is just do custom time, and then I would arrow. There we go. I would do like 22 minutes. So rather than 15 minutes for chicken, I would do 22 minutes for chicken, and then it's just falling apart. It is falling apart. So you can go in there with your salad chopper afterwards when it's finished and chop, 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 or we just kind of scoop it out and the kid, you know, they're shredding it over their bowl of rice right into their plate. So that's what I left my family at home. I cooked rice on the stove top because I always at least double recipes and it's full. I mean, it is all the way full. There is a line on the pot. It will tell you max fill line. There's no guessing. It takes the guesswork out of everything. Okay. As we move on, so we talked about chicken. Cancel this. Beef and pork. Another favorite setting. Ribs in this cooker, which my friend Dory has seen me make probably 100 times, a few dozen times anyway. A whole rack of ribs. I've done probably up to about 5 pounds, so 2.5 racks of baby back ribs. Prep them all. I slice them in half and kind of stand them in here in broth. I use chicken broth or you use veggie broth. season them all up before you put them in there, and put them on the fork setting, 35 minutes, lid is on, amazing. Take them out, just like I did these chicken legs, and you can try these later. Rub some natural barbecue sauce on them, stick them under the broiler for about 4 minutes, turn them over, barbecue sauce, broiler again. It caramelizes the glaze, they are amazing. And they're falling off the bone. They're not dry, they're not rubbery. And you really don't have to, you don't watch them, you don't do anything. You put them in here, you go do whatever you want to do for that half hour or however long your timer says. You come back and you continue your prep work or your cooking or whatever. It's wonderful. Fish or seafood, you can steam. We have baskets like these, steamer baskets. So based on the recipe you're using, it'll call for different accessories. Our accessories will also fit in the other brand cookers. We have tons of accessories. These steamer baskets we're going to use tonight when I show you this Oktoberfest recipe, and they stack together so you can steam 2 different items and they're all at the same time. Soup or stock, I use this one all the time, whether it's chicken soup. If your chicken is already cooked, otherwise you can cook your chicken in there. It's 15 minutes. Chicken's already cooked. Add your pasta like egg noodles. 5 minutes. 5 minutes and your chicken soup is done. So your chicken broth. You'll want to, carrots and celery take a little longer to cook, so you might cook those ahead of time and then release your steam, add your pasta, another 5 minutes, stir it up, it's done. Just so simple. I do beef soups. Beef is about 35 minutes. If we go back, you can see beef or pork is 35 minutes. So I would just up the time a little bit, but I cook everything all in here together. So I'll cube up my beef. It depends on what I'm making, whether it's a chili or I do a vegetable beef soup. It's so easy, but it's so tasty. Everything goes right in here. Everything is raw. Carrots, green beans, we add beans to ours. Cream mushroom soup. I'm just gonna put it all in there together. I put it on the soup setting or I'll put it on the beef setting, which depends on what I'm making. And hit start, and then I'm off to do whatever while dinner's cooking. I come back, it's ready to serve. It's amazing. Once your timer goes off, okay, so it's gonna be counting down. Once it comes to temperature, it's gonna be counting down. Once your timer goes off, it starts counting up. So now it's gonna keep track of how long it's been warming. Some of your recipes will say, do a quick release of your steam. Oh, it was up. I was gonna say our button's up. This red button will be up as long as it's up to pressure, okay? Once that's up, it is not safe to open that lid. It's cooking even higher temperature than what you would cook on the stove top or in the oven. So you wanna make sure you don't do anything. You don't try to take the lid off or anything once that lock is up, once the button's up, but it's gonna lock it in place. You will not be able to open that lid unless you do something crazy to get that lid open. Once the button is up, it's starting to cook. You're gonna see your timer starting to go down. I was gonna say something, I lost my train of thought.
To a quick release.
Thank you. Yeah,
The time is going up.
Right, so it's on warm, time is going up. Some recipes will say, but it's slow release for 10 minutes. So you're gonna watch that warming timer that's counting up now. When it gets to 10 minutes, then you're ready to open it up. It just wants that extra time once it's finished cooking to, I guess, melt all the flavors together, or depending on the recipe, just finalize the whole cooking process. If it says quick release, you're gonna push the button here. So one big thing to remember with our cookers or any of the cookers, you don't want to have them setting underneath the other counter. Like I would pull mine out or I turn it this way. So then as it's releasing, this one goes straight up when it releases. Okay, so you're gonna push the button, steam's gonna spray straight up. So, not under lights, don't have it under a countertop. Danielle will tell you about this one. It's actually
Don't put your hand over it.
Yeah,
It's hot.
don't put your hand over it. A soup, if it's up to that line where it says max fill, I usually I'll stand here and hold like a paper towel over the top because some of the soup is gonna come out as it's releasing the steam. It's just, whether it's chicken soup or beef soup or whatever it is. But your recipe will say whether it's just slow release or quick release. Slow release just means watch your warming timer when it gets to 10 minutes or however many minutes it told you to slow release. Just watch that timer and then you'll push the button. Quick release, you're just gonna push that button and let the steam come out. Once your red button drops down, it's safe to open the lid. Okay, so you're just gonna turn the lid. I usually kind of let the condensation drain, put it over a sink, let it drain. But you're, depending on what the next step of your recipe is, it's ready to serve. I love this so much, and I'm just so thankful that I finally learned how to use one. So white rice, again, 8 minutes, okay? Brown rice, 15 minutes. Whole grains, so oatmeals, quinoa, things like that on whole grains. beans from dry. Now, it depends on how big your bean is. So large beans are gonna take a little bit longer. We have a cooking guide that comes with either cooker. And it will tell you in here for the type of bean that you're cooking. I've even done like a 15 bean bag. You just want to go on a longer setting because some of those beans are large. Like the littler beans will be done sooner, but the large beans will not be done. But it will tell you in here whether you're doing lentils or you're doing black beans or whatever it is. Here you go, that's grains and rice. Here you go, beans right here. How long to do them?
You don't have to pre-soak them either. Like they cook, so like 30 minutes, I make black eyed peas with no soap.
It's amazing. It's wonderful.
Overnight when you know, all that time, you like stirring it.
I know, you like go play games, you take a nap, you don't have to do that, you just eat your life. I know, the next morning you're gonna make your meal, you don't have to do this overnight thing, isn't it amazing though?
I think.
Yeah, I know, well, even like brown rice is 40 minutes, 45 maybe on the stove top, 15 minutes in this baby. And whether it's in the inner pot or you use this ceramic pot that you can get as an accessory, and that, you know, it just holds like two cups of rice, give or take, maybe, you know, probably 2 is all. In my house, we have 6 people. I'm always at least doubling a recipe, always. So generally, my cooker is full, and I'm doing rice in my rice cooker in the microwave, you know, Cambridge rice.
So I
cooker.
usually put orzo in my chicken soup. Is that gonna be?
It's 5 minutes. Well, orzo might, let me see if it says on here specifically.
When you make the chicken soup, would I put the orzo in with it? Is orzo a bean?
It's a pasta.
It's a pasta.
That's it is a little thicker though. I feel like orzo takes a little longer to cook than like ditalini or
Because normally I cook it separately and just add it to the soup so it doesn't soak up all the.
yeah. The nice thing is, well, yeah, if you don't want it to soak up and continue cooking, you know, at least if you do it separately, you can kind of rinse it, stop the cooking process. But that you might still do separately, and then just add it to the broth.
So, I have to ask a silly question because I know nothing about these. The rag is only for when you're doing like meats and things. I'm not gonna.
Well, so
Let me just interrupt for 1 second. If anybody on the watching virtual has questions, you can please just put it into the comments or the chat feature. And we're gonna try to wait till the end to ask questions if we can.
oh, yes,
I-
really hard. Well, write it down, right? I would forget. So with this, it depends. Your recipe is going to say, I think they call this a stand. I think it's just called a stand. It'll tell you when to use this for paper chef recipes anyway, and probably other recipes as well. It'll tell you to put the stand in there. But the great thing about this stand that comes with it, you can put your meats or whatever you're cooking underneath, and then you're gonna add your ceramic pot with your rice or orzo or maybe some other thing right on top of there. And it's cooking, it all fits on top, your lid still goes on. Very hot, so make sure you're using our little finger grips or hot pan holders or whatever to pull this out. Just different things. So now when I do hard-boiled eggs, hard boiled, they're steamed. I use this wrap. 2 cups of water in the bottom just about, and I layer. Eggs are all over. They're just round and round and round. Don't put them in the water. There's round and round and round and round. I've done probably up to, I think 18 to 24, probably max. 10 minutes, always 10 minutes. The more that are in there, the longer it's gonna take to come to pressure. Okay, there's more in there, it's gonna take longer to cook them, but it's taking longer to come to pressure. It's getting to the heat that it needs to be for that amount that's in there. 10 minutes, and then I take them out, put them right into a cold bath, water bath. Amazing. Like you can barely go like this, the whole shell comes right off. It is the best, and even the next day. So that day when you're making your deviled eggs, perfect, or your egg salad or whatever it is, the next day you take them out of the fridge, that shell's gonna come off just as easy. It's a simple recipe, but it's one that I do all the time in the cooker, all the time.
And does the stand come with the cooker?
Yes, everything that's here, this whole thing. Now, this is our original. Okay, so if you have the original, we don't sell this one anymore, but Danielle's gonna tell you about our newer version that has, it's even badder in a good way. Chili and then dessert. So dessert setting, oh my gosh, with Pampered Chefs, like I mentioned, either one of these have a cooking guide that comes with it. So it'll tell you specifically for beans, there's your grains, but there's a cheesecake recipe in here. Danielle actually made it tonight. It is the best. Whether you do plain or you do the combo that comes with it, so good. It's amazing. And that's just on the dessert setting. So you're gonna do, follow your recipe to make your cheesecake, put it in the springform pan, right in here. Cheesecake is kind of hard to master when you're doing it in the stove. It needs like the water bath or whatever you call it. So it steams all, easy, so simple, as long as you follow the recipe. Do what it says about putting water in the bottom, you know, all of those things, amazing. It's so good. It's just the creamiest, just most flavorful recipe. Okay, can you think of anything that I have missed with this? Accessories, we have the springform pan for the cheesecake, although, and this is not even the one we sell anymore, so, but if you have this one, I was thinking, you know, I have two, will I get rid of this one? But I don't think I will, because just like times like tonight, mine is at home cooking for my family, and I'm at, you know, somewhere else with my other cooker. Or maybe there's times when I have a dip or a side dish in here, like potatoes, okay, these are baked potatoes, basically, that I did earlier. Get some of that condensation torn off. About 25 minutes, your oven is not on. There is no heat from the oven in your house. And based on the size, and this is what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potatoes, about 25 minutes total, and your potatoes are done. I made chili earlier last night. Brown your hamburger meat first on that sear setting. Onions or whatever you want to brown it with are in there with the mix and chop, you're chopping it up. And then add all your beans and your sauce, your tomato sauce or seasonings, whatever else you add to your chili, lid on, chili setting, and it's done. So if you want to slice a potato open, add some of that chili to your potato, you can do that too. Okay, so we'll have that, grated some cheese to go with that whole thing. Just so many things you can do with this hot. It feels really limitless, and Danielle's going to tell you about some of the recipes that she made. Like I said, chicken legs, I'm going to stick those under the broiler, so you guys can try those in a few minutes. And then later, I'm going to start the Oktoberfest. It's actually called right here. Pressure cooker, 1-pot Oktoberfest. Bacon, bratwurst, yellow onion, just all kinds of wonderful, flavorful things. Raw, you know, the bacon's raw, the brats are raw. We're going to sear those items first, and then add all the other ingredients. It's going to steam, and you can taste it. So.
Awesome. It's so great. So this is our new deluxe multi-cooker, and it is just as amazing as that, but better.
Yes.
Because like Nicole mentioned, it has more features. So all of the things that Nicole mentioned and more can be done in this. My favorite is sous vide. How many of you guys have ever cooked sous vide?
Have you ever heard of it?
Have you ever heard of
sous
sous vide? Okay, they came out with this and they were like, you can make sous vide. I'm like, what the heck is sous vide, you know? And so sous vide is a French term, and it means vacuum sealed in a water bath. So it's cooked in a water bath. So I made some chicken, and I'll show you it in a little bit, sous vide today. And so what you do is you fill it to the line inside the pot. When Nicole was talking about, can we take this? Can I take these out? Okay. So you fill it to the half line on the inside with water, and then you turn it to the sous vide setting, and you put it to the desired temperature that you want to cook whatever it is you're cooking at. So today when I did the chicken, I believe it was 143 degrees, and it cooks for 2 hours. And when it cooks inside. So you put it in the bag, you pat the chicken dry, I put some salt and pepper on it, put it in here, and this seals it. So when you close this, and then I use a straw and I suck the air out, try to get all the air out because you want to get as much out as you can. And then you put it in the water bath. And I kind of put it up along the side like that. So I make sure the seal doesn't go underneath the water. Now it is sealed all the way, but I still want to just make sure that it doesn't get some water inside. And so when you're using the sous vide setting, it's not under pressure. So you can use this glass lid, and this is an amazing piece too. If you don't have this one, you definitely need it. Because if you're using the slow cooker feature like we have on here, or if you're making a roast in here, we can put our thermometer through here and put it into your meat so you can tell the temperature of your meat as you're cooking. Isn't that crazy? So anyway, so you can put the lid on, cook it for 2 hours. When it's done, then you take it out of the water bath, you pat it dry again, and then you need to sear it. So you don't have to, but it looks kind of ugly. So my husband, who's the amazing video doer tonight, is not very demonstrative when I cook, and I love to cook, and I'm Italian, I'm from New York, and we're always like, you know, it's so good, oh my God, how are you? Like, we're just loud, you know, about family. And so when I cook, I like somebody to say, wow, that was really good, or that was amazing, or oh my God, I can't believe how good that was. And I'm like, how was it? And I'm like, give me something, please, you know? But when I made sous vide steaks, and my husband was like, oh my gosh, those are the best steaks I ever had in my life. And I was like, score. I was so excited since he loved them. Sunday, I made sous vide pork chops. Now, I don't know about you, but especially boneless pork chops, when I've cooked them before, they always get dry.
Yeah.
Dry. You cannot mess up when you cook sous vide. Now, it is a longer time to cook, like I said, so you have to have a little prep ahead, ahead of time that you're gonna do that so that you have the time to put it into the bath. It's not like it's a hard work or anything, you're just dropping it into a water bath and then you walk away. But you do have to prepare yourself for that. So it's a really, really nice thing to do. Like I did 3 chicken breasts today, and I'm gonna use them throughout the week when I'm gonna sear them, or maybe just chop them up and make chicken salad or whatever. But it's good to do like maybe on a Sunday, prep for your week and get your meats done ahead of time. And then you can just put them in the fridge, and when you're ready to use them, just sear them on like 1 minute on each side on your skillet. If you use cast iron or whatever kind of skillet you use, that will brown it up and make it look prettier. We also have a sterilization feature on this one. So if anybody needs to sterilize, if you know anybody that has babies, it's a great feature to have, right? We have a yogurt setting. So I have never made the yogurt, just being honest, but I've heard great things about the yogurt, that it comes out amazing, but you can also proof your breads on that setting. So anybody makes breads. We have the slow cook, like Nicole talked about on the other one, steamed, dessert, beans, soup. So I just love this thing. As passionate as we are about this, it's really what we love in our kitchens. So I would put some oil in here on the sear setting and start my onions and celery and carrots for my soup. And then, then you can add your chicken broth, your chicken, whatever you want to it, and just turn it on to the soup setting and walk away. Like, it's so amazing. And I've also done a pot roast in here. So I seared it on both sides. And then when it was done, I added my vegetables, my broth, and my potatoes and stuff like that. And in 35 minutes, I had a pot roast that was to die for.
Rather than 2 hours in the oven.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, like, that's 2 hours in the oven.
Ain't nobody got time for that, right? And it's just so much easier. And then you're not heating up your house also,
Yeah, exactly.
right? And beef stew, 20 minutes. 20 minutes for beef stew. And I made mashed potatoes in this little fry right here. So your beef stew's on the bottom, your mashed potatoes are on top. It's just, has anybody heard of pot and pot cooking, right? So Nicole was talking about this before. So you can put your potatoes on the bottom and then put a meatloaf in here on top. There's so many things that you could do with that, right? I love that idea. So many great things. So we talked about the dessert, and I didn't go on, but I wanted to show you guys. I made this pressure cooker pumpkin cream cheese bundt cake for you guys to sample. This was made in the pressure cooker, you guys. And we're gonna go over all the accessories in just a moment, but
Look at
that one. And then this one is the ceramic bowl that we were talking about before. And this one, it's just like, it's exactly the same as this one. So this is the one you're gonna use when you're using the pressure cooker. It has the steam release valve openings here. But if I wanna put this in the refrigerator and not have those holes, I'm gonna use these stretch fit lids. And the stretch fit lids they come in a set of 3. And they're really great because if you wanna put them in the microwave, you can release this little, what do you call it?
Tab button.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Pop it open and then you got like a little hole. What was that?
Steam release.
All right. And so I made some homemade chocolate pudding for you guys to sample later. And then I also,
You made that in the pressure cooker?
I made that in the pressure cooker.
What setting is the pudding setting? Yogurt.
Dessert, I
Oh,
think.
that makes
Yeah, I think it was
sense.
just a dessert setting. And then, of course, I made my my cheesecake. And these blueberries are from my blueberry bushes in my backyard. So delicious. So we have the dessert feature. So, you think about the cake, it was so easy. There's so many different variations that you could do with different centers and stuff like that. Okay, so the differences between this one and the other one there's some great differences. So Nicole talked about how you could wrap up the cord on the back, and that's,
I didn't mention that. I think Joy must have added that to hers.
It's added, yeah, I bought it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't
have
remember that
that.
happening.
It doesn't stay on.
I thought I forgot.
So don't.
Okay, so this one has it.
But Danielle has it.
It also has an on and
I love that switch.
yeah, the on and off switch is on the other side, but I couldn't find it. Where'd it go? The on and off switch is right here. Now, you can leave these plugged in. I don't recommend leaving any small appliances plugged in your kitchen. I always unplug all my appliances when I'm not using them. So, they stays cool to the touch, you guys. How cool is that, right? So when you're cooking, whether I'm doing sous vide or I'm doing pressure cooking or whatever, and like Nicole mentioned, I usually have mine sits back in the corner right there. So if I'm using it and I want to release the steam, I certainly don't want to do it back here. So I can simply grab this while it's hot and bring it out to the front. So this cover, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, how cool is that? So that's a new feature for it as well. So it's out of your way when you're not using it, and it can go on either side. We also have this rubber gasket silicone ring. These come out, so you can put them in the dishwasher. You can lightly bleach them. I've had mine for a couple of years and they stay. But if they start to feel a little bit loose, you can put them in your freezer to tighten them up again. They are currently on our outlets for like $6, I think. So I always say get a couple of extra. Nicole's holding my blue one. And I have a black one and we have a clear one. So I kind of try to say my savory is going to be my blue one and my sweet one's going to be my black one. So that way you know, because you don't want your savory foods to taste like your desserts and vice versa, right?
Or vice versa. Yeah, you don't want your sweets to taste like chicken wings or meatloaf.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. So even if the ring looks like it's in, I always try to just rub my finger around just to make sure. And let me tell you, I always say I'm pampered, not perfect, because I have put my lid on without this rubber gasket probably 3 times when I started cooking without it. So
It won't come with pressure if it's not in there. It
mine
should.
has cooked actually,
Oh.
which is crazy, but yeah. But I had a lot of moisture all around on here. So I want to show you, this is mine actually over here. So Nicole was mentioning about the steam release, and the new one has the steam release button over here. So it's completely away from the top. The little red button is in the back right here. It's down already because the steam has released, because it has been on keep warm for 1 hour right now. So it tells you how long it's, and then it also has a delay start feature. I don't know if we talked about that.
No, we didn't.
But it also has a delay start feature. So you can put your stuff in and say, I don't want to start it for 2 hours. Just be careful if it's chicken or something that shouldn't be sitting out for that long. It's okay to leave it cooking on and cooked on warm for a couple of hours, but better not leave it sitting out for hours. Hope that makes sense. So we have, this button is the steam release and this is the cancel button. So I'm just gonna click cancel. And then we talked about custom sear egg setting. Nicole, did you mention the egg
No, I
setting?
did not. So
But
let me.
wait,
sorry. Oh,
just,
go
no,
ahead.
you're fine, just 1 second. I just wanted to say, I did eggs and I put them in the basket. So I had 11 eggs in here, I remember, because I was just one shy of a dozen, and I was making deviled eggs. So I put them in here with a cup of water on the bottom, and I did them in here on the egg setting for 6 minutes, and I let them set for 6 before I released the steam, and then I put them in the ice bath for a few minutes. But just like Nicole said, you just roll them a little bit, and the skin just peels off. It's like a dream. So go ahead, talk about your eggs real quick.
Okay, anyone ever bought the egg bites from Starbucks? What do they call them, steamed egg bites or something like that?
They go sous vide.
Okay. So good, tasty, like $6 for 2. Okay, so that's great here and there. Every once in a while when you're in a rush, you can't stop for breakfast. I made them. This is a awesome new little egg. I think it's called sous vide egg bite carrier or something like that. Yes, bite mold is what it's called. In here, I wanted to try this. This is not mine. I have this one out most of the time. I'm again pampered, not perfect. This baby I've had in my garage for like at least 6 months. I'm like, this works great. Why would I pull this one out? I didn't venture out and try the sous vide yet for meats, but I tried the eggs. I want to show you guys. I want to show these to you. And we're gonna see what the difference is. So these ones were actually done sous vide. Okay, I did a batch last night and a batch today. So some are gonna be more steamy than the others. They taste exactly like Starbucks. And probably because it's 7, because there's 7 little wells, right? So 7 of them might have cost me $5 in ingredients, maybe $5. 6 eggs, a bit of cottage cheese, whatever. I put bacon and bell pepper, and that was it.
No, cheese.
And cheddar cheese. Yeah, so there's cottage cheese, that's in the regular recipe. I added cheddar cheese, bacon, and bell pepper. They taste just like Starbucks. It amazes me. I love them. They're so good. No, I didn't do egg white. I don't think I have egg white, whatever. You can play around with the ingredients, but you can try these in the best. Okay. These ones were sous vide. These ones that are in here right now were steamed, like pressure cooked, because you can do either. So you can do the sous vide. Sous vide was 90 minutes. Okay. Those are so fluffy and amazing that I wanted to see the difference for just pressure cooking them, just steaming them. Okay. And you can try them both yourself too and see what the difference is. I'll show you how you take these out. You put a little oil, you're gonna just brush a little oil or use our mixing spritzer and spritz a little oil into the wells. You mix up the egg mixture in your cooking guide. The recipe should be in there, or on our website, you can get the recipe as well. It did say when you pressure cook them, just use 4 eggs. So it must rise more or something while it's cooking. I don't really know for sure what it was. Cutting board or whatever it is, and then you just press and they should pop right out. Those ones did just fine. There we go. But they're just so cute. They're adorable. This was 4 eggs, and then I did not put, no, you have bacon. I think it's just no bell peppers in these. So if you don't like bell pepper, these have no bell pepper. There's bell pepper.
I'm interested to see the difference. So those were pressure cooked.
These were 14 minutes. You mix up your batter, you're gonna evenly distribute, pour in the wells, and then 14 minutes, I believe was. I have the recipe here somewhere too. If you, oh, it's one of those. I believe it said 14 minutes. Whatever, it's right down there.
And you did it in the same little cup thing?
Yes. So right in here.
Yeah.
So when you buy the egg cooker mold, it comes with this and this. So this is the stand. I love these handles. They stay up when they're in there. So whichever one you have, even the Instapot, it'll fit in there as well. 1 cup of water. You know, you don't want, when you're sous vide, you have much more water and you follow the directions. It was like 7 cups of water.
7 cups.
Pressure cooking, you want always at least 1 cup of liquid in your cooker. You want the steam, that's what's cooking, is the steam. But this whole thing comes together and it's the 8x mold. So we'll have to try this in just a bit. If you can do this at home, you know, for $4 or $5 and freeze them, you know, pop a few, put them in single serve baggies or something, stick them in the freezer, pull them out the morning of, and then make, you know, what you need to make for a fraction of the price and have the same flavor or as convenient. Why wouldn't you? Sorry, did I answer? I don't know if I answered all the questions about, but this dishwasher safe also, stick in the dishwasher, it's so easy.
Because I have this silicone little cups.
Yes.
For cupcakes, and I make them at home, I bake them in the oven, and
Right.
that is so much easier.
So I was telling Danielle, you know, this is new. This came out just this last season for us with our sous vide cooker. Amazon, right? They have the egg white mold. So about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, I bought one on there. I want to make them at home. I don't want to go to Starbucks and get that amazing flavor. It was a pain to use. I could not get them out. It was just a pain. There was no lid to it. It was a mess. And I actually sent it back. Used it once and mailed it back to Amazon. So I was like, I'm probably not going to use this. It's going to be such a headache. And then I made the sous vide ones last night for the first time. I texted and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this texture. You know, they taste amazing. Made more sous vide today, and then the pressure cooker ones.
These
So
were cooked in the.
yes, they're all cooked in here. These were sous vide. These were just pressure cooked. Okay, so that you can try them later and see.
Interesting to see the difference.
Yeah,
I'm
if
very
maybe the
anxious
texture
to
will be
see the
different. I'm not really sure either. If these taste just as good, I don't think I'd go 90 minutes. You know, I'd probably just do the 14 minutes. Pressure cook.
That's in the sous vide bag.
No, this will no. Good question though. This whole thing is just going to go right down in here in your 7 cups of water, just like that. And then that's when you want to make sure you have your finger grips or the.
So we'll
do you want to use?
No, it's not.
Okay,
It's,
so you have 7 cups of water in there, and you want to
Yeah.
make sure.
it's
that-
only to about here. 7 cups of
Yeah.
water. It's right like right underneath.
Yeah, okay.
And just make sure it's. I love it now.
Because otherwise you're gonna have water in your eggs.
Right. And so then sous vide, the recipe was 6 eggs. But just follow your recipe and it's perfect. And you can, you know, chorizo or ham or sausage, just whatever mixins you want in there. It tells you, you know, you don't need that. So I was thrilled actually. So
Yay. So I made some delicious food before everybody got here. And I have my rig in there ready, we talked about. And so these are our microwave bricks, and you definitely need these. These are really great. Aren't they awesome? So they're great if you've got to grab something out of the microwave, because we all have that one copper dish that gets ridiculously hot in the microwave. But not only for that, but to use it for this, whoa. And that is my rice. And so I made the simple chicken salsa recipe. And I have my little table. I call it a table. It's a tray, a table, whatever you want to stand, whatever you want to call it. But this was right on top of my chicken and all of my bell pepper, Mexican corn, black beans, salsa, and some seasoning. And I turned it on to the corn setting, the chicken setting for 15 minutes.
And it cooks the rice too.
Done, and the rice cooks at the same time. So we did this at your Phyllis's party not too long ago. And her husband said to me, wow, that rice was so good. He said it didn't even have the flavor of the other stuff. And it was nice and fluffy. Look at that. I did 1 1/4 cups of rice with a little more than 2 cups of water and a little bit of butter. And so just gonna use a fork to fluff it up. And then we're gonna use the salad choppers to chop up the chicken, and we'll be good to go. So I wanted to just show you guys some of the, we talked about the baskets, right? But think about, like, you could steam your vegetables in one and do your fish in another, right? So many different uses for steaming. You have them, what do you use them for?
For vegetables and for cooking, basically, steaming vegetables.
Mostly vegetables, love it. So a lot of things are safe to use in your pressure cooker. So I know some of the other pressure cookers say you can use the mason jars in them. Pamper Chef does not approve of mason jars because there's so many different variations of mason jars and people that make them, so we don't know how they're made and if they're, heat safe. So anything that is oven safe can go into your pressure cooker. So these bowls are oven safe, so I could use this in my pressure cooker if I wanted to. It would fit in. And we talked about my delicious cheesecake that's over there waiting to be eaten. And this is, the bottom piece is actually under the cheesecake right now, but this is for the pressure cooker. And then Nicole was showing me this before. Isn't this so cute? The little baby. I always say anything cute I have to have, so it's cute. And then it has its own little table, so you don't have to put it on anything else because it's going to be above the water. So anything that you cook in the pressure cooker has to have some kind of liquid in the bottom. And I forget, I think this one said 1 cup of water in the pressure cooker, and then you just put this right on top. So easy. This one is one that we used to sell. And this one was great for eggs because it has the little holes for the eggs. We do not have this anymore, but it is currently on our outlet. So I was mentioning before that we have an outlet on our websites. So the rings are on the outlet right now, and it's a great time to get a couple of extras if you need them. And then this piece is on there as well. And this is great. You can put this as, to use it as on the bottom to carry so many different things besides just pans, right? This is a great tool for the pressure cooker as well, because it has a nice long handle. And I like to use my my chef tongs in there as well, because they're nice and long. And I don't know if you guys anybody have these? Do you have the large ones and the small ones?
Yes.
Right?
I have a couple of pairs of each.
I have 2 of each too, and I just said to my husband, I'm missing my other large one. It's gone. I know, my goodness. So I love ours because they're not spread equal and in the drawer, like the old fashioned ones. So this one has a little ball down here at the bottom, if you can see. When I flip this upside down and then I squeeze this part together, the ball will fall, and then they're open. And then to lock them, I just do the reverse. I'm going to hold this together, flip it upside down, and then it's locked. Everybody says, ooh. Thank you very much. So we have our chicken is all done, and it's seriously like falling apart as I went to pick it up. Look at that. So
breast size.
it was breast. Yep. And I love that, like Nicole was mentioning that you can do fresh or frozen in here, and it's intuitive because it knows exactly what's in there. I remember I made a red lentil and bean soup for my family when we first came out with this recipe, and I have boys. I have a house full of boys. Well, we're only down to one, but anyway, so I made the recipe and I was thinking, oh, the boys aren't gonna like this recipe, but they ate it up. So next time I did it, I doubled the recipe, and the nice thing is you don't have to double the cook time. It knows what's in there, and it may take a longer time to come to pressure, but the cook time will be the same. Super, super handy and nice. Did I forget anything, Nicole?
No, full question. Do you notice if you have to cut back on your liquid bit if you're using the frozen chicken?
I have never found the difference, cook time or otherwise. Whether it's fresh or frozen, I do it in this one on the chicken setting for 15 minutes. It takes a longer time to come to pressure, but I have not noticed any difference.
Sorry if you said this before, but the generation one and the new generation.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if they're gonna come back.
I don't know.
Okay, good. I was hoping it wasn't just me. I was like, did I lose
No.
them?
I wasn't sure if it was just me or not at first either.
Okay, love. Where's Ricky? Go get him. He's over there. And the weather's bad here
Where are you at?
in Citrus Springs.
Okay.
It's pouring lightning, thunder. What, honey?
I just messaged in the pressure cooker workshop group.
Wonder if we should go out and come back in again.
I don't think it's gonna make a difference on their end.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I did that and